Hey there, Chad here from Chibi AI. In this video, I want to do a quick overview of the ethos of Chibi and sort of why, I guess, you can formulate out of this why I created it when there's other AI writing tools on the market. Uh, if I could boil down the ethos of Chibi into three words, I would say it would be write, flow, succeed. And what I mean by that is Chibi is designed from the ground up to be a writing tool for writers who are, you enjoy the writing process. Maybe you want a little extra creativity added into your process. If you want to add some speed, because Chibi is going to finish your thoughts, give you some serendipity, those sorts of things. Chibi is a long form content writing tool, and it's designed to be very simple and easy to use. So you don't have to, understand commands and all kinds of things to use it. If you need certain things from Chibi, it's reflected from your writing, or you can click one of the formula buttons, and you'll see that later to get some content from him. It's meant to be clean, minimal. Literally, the word chibi in Japanese means small, although it is a little bit of slang. And if you do a search right now for chibi online, you're going to find things about the chibi artwork style, and people who might have their pen names as chibi and things like that. Search for Chibi AI if you're going to be trying to search for chibi. But the whole goal is that it's not a tool that's doing everything for you. It's a tool that's augmenting you as the writer. So from the ground up, it is literally written to be that AI dance partner that's better than any other tool in the market at the moment. And so that's the core ethos. It's baked into the application, so that anything we do moving forward is a representation of that, right? Like, how are we going to build a tool that doesn't take over the writing process for the writer? It augments the writer. It makes you be able to create more content faster, better, more creativity, and things like that. And so the idea is that it's quality versus sort of content generation, right? And I coined the term AI dance probably almost a year ago now, when I first started doing all these videos, and I was talking about shortly AI. And the AI dance is essentially, you start off with a lead, the fragment of a sentence, and then you let Chibi take over. That's from the ground up. That's what Chibi is designed for. So he's really good at that. And so what you'll end up with, if you just continue doing that dance throughout your whole article, is you've got an article that is written by you, augmented by Chibi, and the whole time going through it, you're able to review, tweak, change, make the content better of the things that Chibi gives you. And ultimately, at the end of all that, you'll end up with an article that, in my opinion, obviously a very good writer is going to create some outstanding content anyways. But I feel like with a tool like this, Chibi is going to give you some creativity, some extra pathways that maybe you didn't think of or wouldn't have thought of during your writing. So I think you can have a richer, more full article or content based off of you working with Chibi, going through the flow, through that AI dance, and ending at an article like that. And really, it's about keeping the human in the process of writing. So in content generation, just feels like you're just trying to take over, right? And what I mean by content generation is a tool that maybe you type in a little bit of context, and then you hit a button and you get to choose between 5 or 10 different options for the content, and then you pick it, and then you copy it into your document, and then you got to try to figure out how to make it fit your voice and fit into your writing more fluidly, and things like that. And then you got to do that over and over and over. Even some of the tools out there that claim to be long form, they're really generators. They're just, they're not really playing off of the writer so much. They're just generating content, and then you got to go back and edit. Now, of course, always with all these tools, you should fact check everything. But if you're doing the AI dance with Chibi, you end up with a full article that's already kind of been reviewed by you the whole entire time you're writing, right? And so I always kind of say that the AI dance results in quality content generation is mediocrity, right? And you don't want to be producing content for the web. I believe you don't want to be creating content that your reader is going to read that they might find it mediocre, right? You want to be an awesome writer. You want to produce amazing content and really connect with your reader. And I think keeping the human in that process of writing, the process of connecting with the reader, because you know your audience, is important. And so I decided that Chibi AI would be a modern next generation AI writing application designed purely to do that. And we have a fantastic support community just baked right into. You see right here on the dashboard, there's a community button that takes you right over to the community where you have like-minded creators using Chibi to create content and help each other succeed. And also, that's where we support our users and stuff like that. So if you have questions or difficulties with the application, you can get your help right there. And there's also, of course, help documentation. So the ethos, I keep talking about how it's simple, it's fast, it's kind of out of the way so that you can be the writer. And I'm just going to go ahead and just show you what that looks like in a sense. I'm not going to delve too deeply into crafting a full article or anything, but I'm going to show you some stuff so maybe you can get a good glimpse of this. So this is what it looks like when you're looking through your list of documents. I'll go ahead and clone this one so that I can work with it as an example. And then click here. So you can see how fast everything's loading. It's literally loading at the click. As soon as I click, boom, we're in the editor. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And so this is roughly what you'll see when you start a new document, except that obviously the title and the topic box won't be filled in. A couple things I want to express to you when I say that the ethos of Chibi is about writing. You'll notice that the title is right here, right there, front and center, and below it is the content. The tools and everything else are to the right. They're not first, right? The first thing you should see when you're creating a document is the content or the space where you'll create it, because it's a writing tool. So first and foremost, we work on the content. And these tools over here, these are very similar to, like, in the sense that you have a write button. It's similar to other AI tools. This is not an article brief field. Like you might, if you have experience with other AI writing tools, you might think that this is an article brief. You fill it in with as much context as you can. This is not true for Chibi. This is a topic box. All you do is just minimally tell Chibi what it is that you're writing about. And in this case, the dangers of becoming lazy is the topic. And the word "the" is here because if you think about it, it's as if I turned to Chibi, my digital writing assistant, and I said, help me write about the dangers of becoming lazy, right? And you could leave the off of there, but it just makes more sense leaving the there in this case, because I try to make everything kind of fluid when I'm doing my AI writing. Okay, so it says begin writing, start with a quality seed, and don't forget to add your topic at the right. That's this right here. We've already got our topic. And this is very, very important. If you want Chibi to stay on topic while he's writing, which you probably do, make sure that the topic box has something filled in. And then the seed. That's the part up here at the beginning of your article that kind of gives Chibi enough context to understand what it is you truly want to cover in your content. So as the writer, if you are an expert in your field and this is a topic that you're going to be writing about that you know a ton about, go ahead and just start writing in two or three sentences that will give Chibi a really good start where he'll know precisely what it is that you want to cover throughout your article. And if you need a boost, if you don't understand quite what it is perfectly that you want to write about, make sure that your topic is really kind of, it's got a lot of focus to it. And then hit the seed button. That's going to give you something to work with. Laziness is a deadly thing. It slows you down, harms you, makes you dissatisfied with yourself. but you've already noticed you're at the beginning to slow down and lose your motivation. You're getting lazy. The first step to overcome laziness and its many consequences is to recognize this condition and recognize. Okay, this is a good point to show you another feature of Chibi. It didn't finish the sentence here, right? This button over here, the little right arrow, is called the finish button. So you just click that and he'll finish off the sentence and go no further. If you click the other button, the right button, he'll finish the sentence, obviously, but he might also continue giving you more content. And many times that might not be what you want from Chibi. Okay, so let's pretend that this is an article that I'm starting to write and I just hit that seed button, right? What you should do next as the writer is review what was written, change this to be more in your style of writing, change some of the words to be some of the more topical keywords maybe that you want to cover more. Maybe your audience says certain words in this context, and just make sure that you use those words and make sure, essentially what you're trying to do is make sure that this seed is as high quality as you can make it, because this is going to be something that Chibi is going to use going forward to create your content. And let's read this here again real quick. The first step to overcome laziness, right? So it's going to be talking about maybe some ways of overcoming laziness. So we could come down here and we could say ways of overcoming laziness. Come on. Okay, so we've got what could be essentially sort of a heading. Let's go ahead and if you highlight something and then you hit Command Enter or Control Enter if you're on Windows, it'll put that into the topic box. So I'm going to hit Command Enter. You see over here at the topic box, this has been changed, and I'm going to say the ways of overcoming laziness, and then I'm going to go down a line. Actually, I want to make this capitalized. Let me show you another feature of Chibi. Go over here. This is the title casing tool. Click on that. It makes it title cased. And now we're under there. And I'll say something like the first way of overcoming laziness is to, and then I'm just going to let Chibi write. Just Command Enter, let him write. Firmly decide that you're no longer going to let yourself become lazy. As you do this, think about your past moments of laziness. Think about the situations in which you were not motivated and showed that you were passive rather than active. Think about the situations where you're slow or lazy doing your work or your tasks. When you think of these things, you have to recognize that you have a choice. It's pretty powerful. You could choose to be active or passive. You can choose to be lazy or active. You can choose to persevere. There's that again. Let's go ahead and if I hold down Shift and Command Enter, it'll do finish. Let's go ahead and just finish that. You choose to persevere or give up. Okay, so right here, I gave Chibi a lead. That was part of my dance with Chibi. This is what I mean by write, flow, succeed. So in this case, Chibi decided to give me quite a lot of content to work with. So even though my lead was just this, now I have basically a paragraph to look through. And as I'm looking through this, if I feel like maybe there's a little bit of repetition or some of the words I'd like to swap out for different words that are more that something my audience would like or something that I prefer when I write, do that here and then continue on down your full article. You might say another way to overcome laziness is to spend more time with, and let's let Chibi write. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm just doing this just to show you that if you hit Command Enter, or if you were to click that button the right button while it was red, is you can you can stop Chibi while he's writing. Now, in this case, I probably shouldn't have stopped him because he's writing good content. You spend more time with people that are motivated, since this is usually contagious. There's very good content in this context, and so I probably would have let it run. But if you notice that Chibi is maybe not quite in line with what you think, then you just go ahead and hit that stop, and then you can work with that, right? Now let me show you just one more thing before we close out this video. Let's say that we're now at this point, right? The blinking cursor over here at the bottom left, and just the rest of the article is blank. And now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how do I want to continue this article? Well, in Chibi, we have a button here that's right between the right button and the finish button. We call this the pathways button. And what this does is it will give you a couple of ideas for things or ways that you might take your current writing. So I'm just going to click it. It's going to give you a list. It's going to give you a couple of options, two, sometimes three, but usually two. And wow, he's just good, just a ton. Okay. So one of the ways to overcome laziness is to spend more time with people who are active. When you are around them, you might recognize how productive and active they are. So when you spend time with them, you think you should feel the way you do when you think you should feel this the way you do when you're around them. You'll start to strive to be like them. And then the second option, another way to overcome laziness is to surround yourself with inspiration, indulging in inspirational work. Okay, so let me explain what it is that Chibi is trying to do here. He's not giving you this content to be something that you would use in your in your writing, like the text, I mean. What he's trying to do is here's a couple of ideas or different ways, we call them paths, right? Two paths that you might take your writing next. One would be if you want to continue along and talk about being around people who are active. And of course, when I say that he's not intending to give you text to use, you could, if this just happened to come out in exactly the way that you like, of course, use it, no problem. But its real intention is to give you a couple of ideas, right? So you'll strive to be like them. Like, this is good content. I probably would want to use that. And if I wanted, and this whole this whole thing right here is about overcoming laziness, and down here we want to talk about being around people who are active would be another thing to write about. And another way would be surrounding yourself with inspiration. And actually, in this particular case, I think both of these are good. So I might keep them both, right, and make them different ways, different parts of my content. I would say this would be surround yourself with inspiration, and maybe this one would be around active people, something like that. And again, I want this to be a sort of a heading, so I'm going to title case that. This one too, title case that. And I don't need these to be lists anymore, so I can go ahead and take that off. Now, I have a decent start to a couple more sections, and not always is it going to work out that way. The goal is not to give you two new whole sections necessarily that you're going to work with, but it's meant to give you a couple of ideas so that you can pick one, delete the other one, and have something new and creative, or a new path to take your content. And so really, the idea of Chibi, right? The flow, the right flow succeed ethos is you're writing, you're letting Chibi help you out. Whenever you feel like you want some ideas for new ways or new creativity in your writing, you hit that pathways button. If you want some more of the traditional things, you can get headlines, questions. Let's see what happens if we want to get some headlines. Let's go right here in our content. Let's click on headlines. Maybe we don't want the dangers of becoming lazy to be our headline. Let's see, 5 ways to stay motivated when you're feeling depressed. What makes being lazy difficult? Here we go. Let's go with this one. Copy that. Put it up here. Boop. All right. And I don't need these anymore, so I'm going to remove those. All right. So now I got a new headline. You could come up with questions about your content. So maybe if you want some more ways of spurring your creativity, you can go ahead and hit questions button here, and Chibi's going to come up with some questions that maybe you'd want to try and answer throughout your content. How can I work on overcoming laziness with discipline? How great is grandiosity? How great a grandiosity is necessary for being lazy? Sometimes it's a little weird. AI has a mind of its own, right? What are possible consequences of being lazy? This could be its own whole new article. You can get content ideas from this. You can get content ideas that will become new articles, new documents, or even components or sections inside of your current work. And let me just cover one more thing. I've been doing all of this work inside of the article mode in Chibi, and I'm going to have a total separate video about each of these tools and all these different parts of the UI and stuff like this. But Chibi's built around the concept of having modes, so kind of different hats that he would wear. to do different things a little bit better for you. So in article mode, he's the most serious. He writes the most informative. If you switch to copywriting mode, he'll try to be a little bit more creative, maybe use a little bit more persuasive voice. And you get access to different tools, as you can see. So these are all components of different marketing copy formula, like ADA, right? Attention, interest, desire, action. The PAS, PAS, problem, agitate, solution formula, and before, after, bridge formula, and benefits, right? So these are things that you can use if you're trying to get content quickly and that you want to work fast. You can actually go ahead and use, let's say attention. It might be a little bit weird sounding to use this in an article like this, but you know, it can give you some content ideas to work with. Like let's see what action does in this case. Yeah, okay. It gives you actionable things to do to overcome laziness. Pretty cool. So anyways, yes, and I want to really stress to you that while you're going through this article, like ways of overcoming laziness, right? If you're in this section and you're doing your writing, this topic over here is a good fit for that. But when you get down into this section, you might want to use this one as, right? So, but think about the context of it, right? Let me put be around active people. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Enter on this so that it, Command Enter in this so that it moves over into the topic field. Now think about this. Like, hey Chibi, write about be active around active people, or be around active people. So how does that give him good context, right? So hey Chibi, write about being, let's say overcoming laziness by being around active people, right? Okay, so now that gives him a really good instruction, and when he starts writing, these friends can empower you to, let's let Chibi take over, stay focused on your goals and to being healthy. When you're around them, you feel refreshed and energized. It's easier to pursue your goals because you aren't constantly distracted by the need to rest or eat. Interesting. Might change the need to rest or eat, but you know, otherwise it's pretty good content. And I just wanted to really showcase that this topic box is very important. So definitely, as you're going through the different sections of your content, change it up. And that's why I made it possible for you to just highlight something and hit Command or Control Enter to put it in that topic box, so you can work fast and flow through your content, so you can be more successful with it. But also think about it when you put it in there. Think about how that would sound if you were turning to let's just say if it was even a human writing assistant and you were their boss or something, and you were saying, hey, write about something. You'd want to give them as much good information as you could, right, to make sure that they produce what it is that you're looking for. Same thing here. The topic box does just that. So sorry, this is starting to get a little bit long. I had actually just intended to talk about the ethos, but then got into showing how that ethos is reflected in the writing capabilities of Chibi. And so I hope that you can see that this really is the next generation sort of modern AI writing app that really augments you as a writer, takes you to new levels. And if you do need any help with this, don't hesitate to ask. Definitely join the Chibi AI community, where we're in there all the time for probably 12, 14 hours a day almost, helping our users, with questions, difficulties, also providing training and education, more content to show you how to make the most of Chibi AI. And yeah, until next time, take care.